Welcome, I'm Justin Walter.
And I'm Evelyn Rudy.
And this is Santa Monica On Stage, where we talk about the people and venues that make the city of Santa Monica the cultural destination for the performing arts.
We're excited to kick off our 4th season with 2 very special organizations. First up, we'll check out some comedy improv with professional jokesters from MI's West Side Comedy Theater.
And I'm definitely looking forward to see what kind of trouble we're going to get into. And Evelyn, I hope you brought your dancing shoes, because tonight we're also going to be visiting Contratiempo, a cutting-edge urban dance company that tours all over the U.S., but is based right here in Santa Monica.
And they do such great work giving back to the community.
I can't wait to find out more, so let's get started.
What began as 6 friends starting out together in improv has now grown into a comedy powerhouse. They perform over 350 shows a year from Hawaii to Singapore and can rightfully claim that they own comedy west of the 405. They are MI's West Side Comedy Theater, and joining us today is Bryce Whistle. Welcome, Bryce.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Lovely to have you here in Santa Monica. I think is very lucky to have you and West Side Comedy. I have a 2-part question to start with. First of all, the first part of the question is capital M, small I's, West Side Comedy Theater. What's the MI?
Right.
And the second part is how to get started.
Okay, great. Well, yeah, it's a mouthful. MI's West Side Comedy Theater, but the MI stands for Mission Improvable, which is a nationally touring improv group that I've been a part of for, well, over 10 years now. And we, as you mentioned, do shows at colleges, military bases, festivals all across the country and sometimes worldwide. And then we've been lucky enough for the past 5 years to have a home in Santa Monica with the theater.
And you guys have grown a lot over the last few years.
We have. We have a number of touring productions on the college market and military bases. The theater has just been growing steadily all the time. And you know, I remember when there was a struggle to get 30 people in there a night, and now we're turning people away, which is, you know, a good feeling. Not the rejecting people part, but the
being that full, that popular.
Yeah.
So do you travel with them, or are you based in Santa Monica now? Or?
I do still sometimes travel. My job as the director of education at the theater keeps me pretty busy, but sometimes I get to go out on the road and perform, which is always fun.
So what are some of the duties of your specific job?
So as a director of education, I oversee our training center. We teach comedy classes, and that includes improv, it includes stand-up comedy, sketch comedy, and anything else really that people are interested in that we can find a good space for. But our focus has really been on improv and stand-up, and just helping people discover that art that they can do themselves, that kind of comedy that you see people do and you think, I could do that, and getting the chance to actually try it.
I think that all the different forms of comedy that you teach are probably not just for people who want to become professional comedians. There's something very freeing about being able to just get up and let it all out and interact with other people.
I think so. Yeah, I think people take these classes for all kinds of reasons, personal and professional. I mean, we have our share of writers and actors, but we also get a lot of people who do it for a release or for fun, for professional development. So it is a very empowering thing, I think.
Probably not just personal or professional development privately, but big organizations too sometimes?
That's true. That's true. There's been an increased interest, I think, in the corporate world to bring in improv and increasing efficiency of communication and accepting of people's ideas. Just bringing some of that that flavor back to a marketplace where we typically only think of saying no. Yeah.
Now you're a big social media guy, so how has social media over the past years changed the face of comedy?
Yeah, you know, it's a good question. I think so much comedy happens on Twitter. It's funny, right? I mean, and it's funny to think that a theater would have to have a Twitter page, but we do if we want to reach a lot of people, especially of a certain age.
Yeah.
So we try to keep it a mix of letting people know what we have going on, as well as some comedy too, some content.
It's a source of good material.
Yeah, exactly, exactly.
What is Herald?
Yeah, so the Herald is an improvised long form, as they're called. So it's typically it'll involve getting a suggestion and improvising a series of scenes that are packaged together and run about a half an hour. So the Herald is the first, the most famous, the original long form. When you hear people talk about long form improv.
So with so many different comedy houses in Los Angeles, what separates you guys from other houses?
That's a great question. I think to start, the location. I mean, when we say we own Comedy West of the 405, we mean that there isn't another dedicated comedy theater with new material 7 nights a week, improv and stand-up. But also, I think once you try it, you want to come back. I mean, we have a great room. It's just a fun environment to be in. Cheap drinks, never a drink minimum.
Drinks during classes? Or?
Oh, no.
I was going to say.
No, that's frowned on.
This is a different type of class.
I was thinking more of the theater in general, but
When the shows are.
yeah, the shows, the community. We're just growing quickly, but we're still pretty tight knit. We're a small group, and so it's just an amazing thing to be a part of.
And we talked about the personal growth that people can get from it, but I think you also had a lot of celebrities there, haven't you?
We have, yeah. We've, especially in the past year, we've really seen a lot of big names come through. Zach Galifianakis, here's some of them, Dave Chappelle. There's Kevin Nealon and Tig Notaro. Damon Wayans lives nearby, and he's been dropping in a lot lately. Bill Burr. So we've had some fantastic talent and heroes of ours that we've gotten to know personally a little bit. Yeah.
How did you get involved? Were you like 4 years old and decided I want to be funny, or?
My mom tells this story that I was a very serious kid, but I used to tell them I was going to grow up to be a comedian. And when they asked why, she said, I said, you have to be born funny. It was the only joke I ever told as a kid, but I guess it turned out to be true.
So with classes, though, you can help someone who's not born funny become funny.
Yeah, I think so. I'm not
Hopefully.
sure I really was born funny, but there's obviously no magic formula, but there's lots of things that have worked for a lot of people, and I mean, it's gotten us where we are now.
Yeah. So if someone is apprehensive about doing an improv class or one of your classes, what would you say to them?
Yeah, well, we try really hard to make it a very supportive atmosphere. The first day, we really stress that. Some of you may be actors, some of you may have performing experience, and some of you may not, and that's fine. This is a safe environment, a place where you can fail, and that's part of the growth. That's part of the joy of it. So yeah, I think people quickly get comfortable.
I've been privileged to actually watch some of your classes, and I have to say that I just want to laugh out loud because everybody seems to be having so much fun.
I hope so.
There's all these wonderful loud bursts of energy coming out, loud noises, and everybody is just so happy about the whole thing that it is really, really awesome to watch.
It's fun. It's a lot of fun. It can look a little cultish from the outside. You have that. No, everybody's having a good time. You always say it's really easy to get a group of improvisers to start clapping. And basically, every time somebody finishes speaking, we're all, oh yeah.
What's your favorite part about your job?
Oh man, I mean, I got into this because I love to perform improv, and I still get to do it all the time. We've created this thing that belongs to us, and I get to have a little piece of that and share in the joy of that weekly. So. All of it, I guess.
So what would be like a beginning class, the first class? What would be something that if we were beginning students, what would you make us do?
Sure. Well, if it was improv, I would first of all want you to know that you don't have to try to be funny. I always say that people trying to be funny and not succeeding is, I mean, that's one of the worst things you can watch, right? But if you try to keep it real, you just try to be emotional and be honest, really listen and respond. I mean, these are all things we all know how to do, but sometimes lose sight of or get closed off from one another in different ways. So a lot of it is just about opening up and being being prepared to not be prepared, you know, to be in the moment.
And always saying yes. Is that
And
the number
yes,
one rule
yes
of
is huge.
improv?
Yeah, yes is huge.
Always
yeah.
say yes, right?
Yeah, exactly. It's become a real life philosophy for some people.
Well,
yeah.
it's hard. You want so
Yeah.
much to be right. You want so
Yeah.
much to, and if
And
it's a comedy
funny.
class,
Yeah.
I'm going to try to be funny.
Yeah.
That's
And
true.
that's the surest way to
Not
not
be
be
funny.
People
funny.
struggle. Yeah, I think people struggle when they push too hard against that. I think. Yeah, if you can let yourself go a little bit and trust the process.
And I think what you're saying applies to all kinds of acting and
think so.
performing.
Yeah.
Yeah. And after all these years, you still get energized every time you're on stage? Or does it
Yeah,
ever
yeah. I
fade
mean,
away?
I even if I don't, even those rare days when I don't feel like going in and doing it, by the time I'm done, you're always glad you did. You know.
Well, and we are glad that you have come here
Yes.
Thanks
with
so
us
much.
today. Thank you again, Bryce, for joining us today.
My pleasure.
Don't go anywhere. We'll be back with Bryce and another friend for a performance from MI's West Side Comedy Theater.
Hey, slow down!
Right next to the library on 7th Street is the Santa Monica History Museum, where history comes to life for the entire family. Enjoy the exhibits, main gallery, the photo archive, research gallery, and much more. Come visit the Santa Monica History Museum, keeping history alive.
We're back, here to perform a very original, on-the-spot improv. Please welcome Bryce Wissel and Patrick McIntyre. Take it away, gents.
Thank you, Evelyn. They were nice enough to give us these lines of dialogue during the break. We haven't read them yet. Patrick's going to take 3 of them, and I'm going to take 3 of them as well. From you guys who are here, could we get a suggestion of how about a location? Bus stop. A bus stop, great. So at any point, we're going to have to reach in our pockets, drop in these lines of dialogue, and just make that make sense. Bus stop.
Great.
Don't go.
I have to.
You don't have to.
Yes, I do. My bags are packed.
That doesn't matter. You can unpack bags.
No, I put the application in. I'm going. You can't stop me, Dad. All right? Look, a birthday bash starting with happy there, and I'll be wearing a big tutu. Look, there's gonna be a birthday bash at this job, and I'm gonna wear this
This is
tutu.
why I don't want you going to the city. This is why I don't want you getting into weird stuff like that,
It's
son.
not weird.
It is weird.
It's ballet.
Gregory, I fed him some mashed up peas, which he immediately ate, and within 2 hours, he's swimming around again.
My turtle?
Yes. Your turtle is fine. But he misses you, all right? We all miss you. You've got to come home.
I can't. Shelly and you and Mom are just gonna have to just learn to live without me, Dad. I'm going. When this bus shows up, I'm gonna take this bus into that city. I know that you want to stop me, Dad. I know. But did I mention I had to drive to get the kids from school with my eyes half closed, Dad? Did I mention that?
No.
I almost died that day.
Why did you go? I don't even know what you're...
I was trying to get to the school, Dad. And the tears, because my eyes were half closed, thinking about leaving you and Mom and Shelly.
You don't seem too beaten up about it. You seem just fine. Do you really think all the Jelly Bellies will fit in there? In this luggage?
Yes.
You really think you're gonna fit all those Jelly Bellies
There
in that
are.
bag?
And Dad, I'll tell you what, if you can tell me, if you can guess how many are inside that bag, I will stay.
1,200.
You're right. Fine, I'll stay here, Dad, but I need you to know, when the music stops, you're dead.
What?
Yeah, when the music stops, you're dead, Dad.
Are you threatening me?
No, I'm not. No.
Look, we can make this work. We can be a family again. Don't forget to take your pills. These Jelly Bellies. Eat them.
Thank you, Dad.
Scene. All right, we'll call it right there. Thank you, guys. Thank you so much.
Their title translates as Against Time, but in a greater sense, Contratiempo encompasses the work they do in the right here in the moment world with urban Latin flair. And we're lucky enough to have the lady that created it all from Contratiempo. It's Ana Maria Alvarez. So thank you for joining us.
Thank you so much for having me.
So how did Contratiempo get started?
So we actually began as my thesis work at UCLA. I was getting my master's degree in choreography, and I started working on this project around salsa as a way to empower communities and to represent voices that weren't traditionally heard. The idea that salsa is this dance where you need pushback and you need engagement and you need resistance. And sometimes in our culture, that's seen as a negative, and actually in dance it's necessary or you don't exist in the partnership. So I took that whole metaphor, created this piece of work, and we began touring. And I realized after the first year of touring and starting to actually notice the interest and excitement about the work, that it would make a lot of sense for me to file for 501c3 and start a nonprofit. And we started, you know, pretty much functioning as a dance company. It was in 2007 was when we finally became officially a company. So
That is wonderful.
Yeah.
Was dance always your main focus when you were little? And how did that happen?
yeah, I was actually a musician and a dancer. So when I went to college, I decided kind of to which path to choose. But it's kind of, you know, and it's interesting because I use actually a lot of music, and a lot of music inspires how I move and why I move and what I decide to move about. So music and dance has always been really important, and it's definitely, the dance won out more than the music did when I had to make a decision of what I was majoring in. And really, I mean, I've been dancing for as long as I can remember, and I can't imagine my life without it. I mean,
Did you ever imagine your thesis work would bring you to where you've exploded today in your company? I mean,
it's pretty
crazy.
Yeah, it's pretty unbelievable, and at the same time, it's what I always knew was possible. But I just, you know, that the fact that we really are getting to do this every day, all the time, is pretty astounding, and it really is. I mean, it's come with a lot of hard work and a lot of incredible people really believing in the work and supporting the work, and we would not be here today without the community that's really supported us to grow and flourish and continue to create.
So you were mentioning music and dance, and I understand you have a composer that is part of your company. How does that work? Do you say to the composer, I'm doing a dance like this and this is the music I want? Or does the composer come and say, I have this great piece of music, I want you to create a dance? How does it work?
Yeah, so it's actually very funny. My brother is the composer. He's the co-founder of the company, but also our resident composer. And we've worked together, obviously, a long time, but started collaborating when the company got created, and have created an enormous amount of projects together. But always we start the creative process with the idea that comes from the dance, and then he brings in a huge wealth of knowledge of poetry and found sound and soundscaping, and kind of figuring out how to tell stories and engage ideas through music and the way that I'm doing it through dance. And sometimes we start with a little bit of dance, and he then creates music to go with that, and sometimes he gives me a piece of music and I create dance to it.
And he's in New York?
He's actually in New
How
York.
do you do that then?
So yeah, I know. So he's based in New York,
Skype?
and all of our musicians, except for one, is based in New York as well. So when we tour, we come bi-coastal, you know, from the bi-coastal way. He actually has. He's starting to work on a lot of other projects right now. So we're going to create the first piece this year, separate from one another. But I know we'll come back together, and we do. You know, a lot of email, a lot of Skype, a lot of traveling, frequent flyer miles, yeah.
So with traveling, I know you guys tour. So do you have plans of expanding beyond the U.S. at all?
So we actually have toured internationally, but we have a huge tour coming up that's really exciting. The U.S. State Department, Obama administration, and Dance Motion, which is a program curated by BAM, Brooklyn Academy of Music, they are presenting us and invited us to be a part of this program as dance ambassadors for 2014. Wow. So we are going to be touring to Bolivia, Chile, and Ecuador, representing the United States, Los Angeles, Santa Monica.
Do you need a male dancer?
I know.
Sign me up.
I can't tell you how many people are like, can we go into your luggage? Could you need somebody to, carry your luggage?
I know you also work with the kids at PAL, the Police Activities League, and I imagine that. Well, I know that dance must have a tremendous influence on their lives. So if you could tell us a little bit about that, and also maybe if you know, will any of them, do you think, become professional dancers or maybe even join your troupe?
We would love that. So we actually worked with PAL for the first time this year and have been just really in love with the program there and in love with the kids there. I mean, we've been working with the middle school, high school students. However, all of the elementary school, students are constantly peeking in, and we're going to have a big open class. We're going to invite the entire community, no matter what age, which is going to be really fun. And hopefully the idea is to bring the students to work with us further outside of the program and be able to be engaged in some of our community classes or our summer programs. And I mean, we have students who have started as students and have become dancers in the company. One of our principal dancers was 18 years old when he started working with us, and now is one of our principal dancers.
Wow.
So that's absolutely a possibility.
So how does it work? If a school or an organization wants to work with you guys, what do you bring to them? How does it? What's the process?
So in the past 8 years, we've really built our education programs around the residency model of performing, bringing our performance work to schools and to students, and then either following that with a 10-week or 20-week residency where we come in and deliver dance instruction, but really it's more than dance instruction, it's life instruction. It's using dance as a metaphor for how to responsibly be a part of a community, of how to see yourself within the context of something much bigger than yourselves, how to compassionately relate with your peers and see yourself as an important and valuable contribution to the world, and doing all of this through dance. I mean, we use dance performance, definitely some theater of the oppressed ideas mixed in there, and it's really this idea of performance having the capacity to transform the world, and we believe it, and we've seen it, and we know it's possible. This next year we're going to be deepening some of those relationships and taking on actually less schools, but in a more intense way to build artistic work with the communities that we're working with. So it's an exciting time.
That is very exciting. And
Yeah.
so where do you see yourself in 5 years?
In 5 years, I see that's so long. We've moved very quickly, very fast, and grown really fast. So I really see us continuing to grow and continuing to deepen the relationships with the communities that we work with. I think in 5 years, I see us hopefully having some kind of performing arts space that we could have our program really based there, but that also other artists who are creating like-minded work can also find a home in our space there. I see definitely, continuing to create community-based, but really high quality artistic work that will be touring and performing locally. And I see being able to salary artists and really value them for their contribution to this work, and that's something that we're working towards. And I'm the child of two parents who are union organizers, so I'm it's important to me to pay people and value them for their time, and that's something that we would definitely stand for.
Well, it's been such a pleasure having you. Thank you so much for being with us. Well, we aren't actually finished yet because Evelyn is actually going to put me in the hot seat on my first day. Well, I don't know about you, Evelyn, but I was laughing hysterically during the improv.
So was I.
It was so good, and we actually, just telling you guys, wrote down those sentences.
Those were our sentences.
They did not look at them before pulling them out of their pocket.
That was great.
And mine were text messages from family and friends. So
That's very funny. Good idea.
good material, just like Twitter, he said in the interview.
Yeah, totally off the subject. Every time I try to type improv into my computer, the automatic spell check changes it to improve.
Improve. Well, you can't improve on that improv. It was fantastic. I
great.
really enjoyed it.
And it is so wonderful to have a dance company like Contratiempo right here in Santa Monica.
I haven't seen them yet. I'm dying to go
They
check them out.
They are awesome. They're absolutely. They make you want to get up and join them on stage. You've ever seen a show like that where you just have to hold yourself back to keep from getting on the stage?
Yeah, I would be interested in trying out one of their classes too.
Yeah,
You
it was
can
what
tell
she said. There's a class for everybody.
everybody,
Ah.
and she's so passionate. And the fact that it started from her thesis work, I found that fascinating.
Yes. Yes, most people sort of like,
know.
okay, I'm going to do my thesis and get it over with and then do the real thing in real life.
I know.
That was great.
Yeah.
So, speaking of
Improv.
improv
Yeah.
and the hot seat,
The hot seat. I'm ready for it. I'm ready for it.
you are a professional host.
I love hosting.
How did that happen?
Well, when I was 16 years old, I actually started hosting full-scale game shows in my backyard for my family. I love Survivor, so I made 16 family members play a 3-day Survivor game in our backyard.
Really?
The next summer I made them play the mole. And as a hobby, I made family and friends play reality game shows for fun. I loved it, never thought it could be a career, and I moved out to LA and I'm trying to pursue it, and it's awesome.
That is fantastic.
Yeah.
And you know, that's anything that you really love can be.
It can.
It can be a career.
I get paid now to talk about reality television and to host fun shows about performing arts, and I do outdoor adventure shows as well. It's a lot of fun.
That is great. And I
Yeah.
think that's what the arts are all about.
It is.
And
This is the arts too, what we're doing
yes,
here.
it is.
Yeah.
It is. It's absolutely awesome. And that's our show for today. Every week, we're continuing our journey towards learning more about the arts groups that make Santa Monica's cultural world so rich.
We look forward to seeing all of you guys next time as we introduce you to some more of our friends right here at Santa Monica On Stage.